In this video, we will make a Hot Wheels custom inspired by the Ronin from Saints Row 2, and in the way we will talk about the gang's lore. How about that? So follow along. Right off the bat here we have an Amazoom already primered and stripped from its paint. It's a slot race car inspired by the Amazonian Race League. It was brought to you in 2008 by Mark Jones, user. Here we're gonna put a fresh coat of paint, yellow, to represent the legendary Ronin from Saints Row 2, and here we begin with the story. As we apply some apple barrel paint from Walmart, we can talk about the Saints Row lore of the Ronin. See, the Ronin is an ambitious gang straight from Japan, and they took roots in Stillwater, believe it or not, and it's part of the three gangs that ruled Stillwater. Among them, these guys stand out for the Japanese accents, and also like they represent some kind of like Bozuzoku gang from Japan. Pretty chill, pretty demure. Their territory is usually in eastern Stillwater. Primary business is just racketeering, arms trafficking, extortion, nightlife control. The basic stuff, the Gucci stuff. Nothing too bizarre. But these guys are really, really cool how they represent themselves, and it's one of my favorites of the three gangs in Stillwater. I just love their whole vibe, man. Like, they be vibing with their tuner aesthetics. And here, if you can see, I'm actually cutting out some slide water decals that I printed off with their logos and little accents to really, really represent the Ronin. You know what I'm saying? She pimp. So technically, the Ronin are literally the Yakuza mixed with the Bozuzoku gang of Stillwater, and that's what these guys are about. And their leader is Kazuo Kuji. Oh yeah, an elder Yakuza patron from overseas. And he rarely appears in Stillwater, but his control is obsolete, because his son is kind of a goofball, Shogo Kuji, he's the second in command. And they kind of don't really take the gang that seriously. They just, he just collects, and he's pretty much just like serves a little bit of insurance slash tax collector for protection, and pretty basic stuff. And then the enforcer Junichi, man, that dude has like dual swords. He's like really loyal, man. Like, he's the best swordsman they got in there, and he serves Shogo as his bodyguard and the Ronin most dangerous warrior, believe it or not. He's really out there. Unlike Shogo, he values honor and respect, so I can respect that. He's pretty more of a stickler to the rules. Shogo is just a goofball that plays boss, kind of like in Tokyo Drift. And eventually his uncle or dad or whatever he is, but Shogo Kuji shows up to put everything in control. I'm pretty sure his dad. Yeah, it's pretty much definitely his dad. So, while Shogo seeks power through fear, Junichi represents the old ways. Silence and deadly respectful. This ideology conflicts. How do you say that word? Conflicts between the traditional and ego creates an internal tension of Ronin ranks. So pretty much, he's the buzzkill, and Shogo just like, hey brother, out here, what I'm saying, we out here vibing yard. And then pretty much Junichi's like, no, we must bring honor to the family. And just so we get this clear, I'm using all like bunch of products you can find on Amazon and Walmart. Here I'm using a little Sharpie to add the accents to it. But look at this beauty. It's starting to really pop up, what I'm saying? It's a Rockstar, but it's like those gang affiliates, because get Rockstar, the Ronin, the yellow, and the star, what I'm saying? But, it really brings out like the sporty vibe, So anyways, as I was saying, Shogo being the teenager dude that rebellious he is, he just does whatever he wants and pretty much ignores Junichi's enforcements of the respect and law and loyalty of the thugs they are. And that will eventually trigger Kazuo Kuji to spawn into the map, and he enters the chat and he's like, I am not very happy of what my son has been doing. Or nephew, whatever. But I'm pretty sure it's his dad because they share the last name. But then that could be the same thing, what I'm saying? It's pretty complicated, but trust me, the story is juicy. At some point, you got to be able to, to get the vibe. You have to get Saints Row 2, man. It's pretty chill, It's all about drift and motorcycles and, like, all Gucci stuff, Oh, Now I'm here adding the details to the headlights. I'm gonna do blackout, just like it looks more like a tuner. And that's what these guys are. The Ruiner are like tuners, even though like their specialty is pretty much just motorcycles, but their cars they're really tuner vibes, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, the Ronin they be doing all kinds of stuff, man. But like they try to like follow the laws and do all this crazy stuff just so they can hide their business, their underground casinos, and they try to do everything by the law. They work with city hall and so on and so forth, and they're just pretty much like some kind of like security guard system, but at the same time, they pay the city so they can do things legitimately and get away with their shit. But little by little, then the Saints eventually come in and be like, we finna take this shit, man. We want everything, you know what I'm saying? Then eventually they start like this whole thing with Johnny Gat, and they come in, they kick butt, but then they killed Johnny Gat's girlfriend. Junichi stabs Johnny Gat, which it was like such a badass scene, man. Like it was so cinematic. It was good, but then that led to him getting killed, and by him I mean Junichi, the boss, killed him and like shanked him, and it was pretty fun. He pretty much got ambushed in the parking garage, and then they end up finishing some kind of sushi place, and really epic. As for Shogo's fate, after he betraying his own man and falling down because he became a snitch, I'm gonna be honest, because his dad Kojo Kuji like Junichi more than his actual blood. So it's like, you know what, this dude has no honor, and I'm just gonna adopt Junichi because he's badass. He's such a Chad, So and that's how it became a thing. And then he snitched on him, and blah blah blah. They go back and forth until everybody dies, including Shogo, because he trying to pull a maneuver. Was like, oh dude, I'm such a badass, so I'm gonna show up to Aisha, which is Johnny Gat's girlfriend, slash they never got married, but what I'm saying, soulmate, and after she got murked, and he comes and interrupts the funeral. It was not the meal because it was a funeral, and it sucks because we have the ending of a really badass teenage Shogukuji, and he eventually just gets KIA by Johnny Gat and buried alive. So technically he didn't got KIA confirmed, but his fate was sealed pretty much. And that's what happened with the Ronin. The collapse really went through after like, old man and Kuji. He tried to invade the Saints Row HQ and they failed miserably, and homie just like fucking skedaddles out of there, and then eventually catch up to him in the boat, and they officially killed them, the head of the Ronin organization. Therefore, that was the end, bro. But it sucks because it would have been cool to like somehow they do like the whole horror movie where I'll be back and then he returns back. But no, that was the end of the Ronin. But we all can fantasize that somebody comes and rescue Shogo, and it will continue. And going back to the car, here we're just adding the final detail, which is the headlights. We're adding a little bit of a gloss resin, so they really make it look more realistic with the shine and the matte paint. Just adding the details. I like it. It's really a fantasy car because the Amazoom is really a slot card. There's nothing to it, but I decided to convert it into some kind of Evo X. Pretty demure, pretty Gucci. As they say, it slays hard. But yeah, hopefully the Ronin do come back. If not, I'll make a comeback into the Banditverse, this new upcoming series coming up on YouTube, where we, add all kinds of things into the mix, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be like trail mix, a little bit of everything, and the Ronin will be back. Trust me, they will be back. But it sucks because Shogo's voice actor was from Sasuke's voice actor, or they aren't the same dude, and it's pretty badass, having the whole anime reference in a great video game with like some great story. Saints Row 2 is my personal favorite, all-time favorite game. you know. But yeah, here's it. Amazoom, aka the Lancer Evo 10, and look at it. It's ready to go for the track. It does have the Japanese JDM tuner vibes into it. You know, a little bit of track days for this puppy, and we are good. We are golden, and have a very good day, night, wherever you at. Much love, peace, and chicken grease.